Well, hello and welcome to my live stream. I don't think I had my sound on. One of the things I would really love is if there's a glitch, you don't hear me, or something's not quite working, put it in the comments and I'll find out a few seconds later. So welcome. Hey, Tisha and Brandon. Great to see you. We haven't connected in so long in this whole COVID thing, which we're going to talk about a little bit in a minute because we're all tired of talking about it. But I'll talk about it a little bit more. We'll talk about it. But yeah, so I want to welcome you. If you happen to be new, you haven't caught my live stream or the recorded before, just say that in the comments. Say, hey, new, hashtag new, hey, hi, whatever, so that I can acknowledge that. So my live streams are fundamentally going to meander, because I'm a photographer and a business owner and I love life, it'll be about photography, life, and business. And this is only my second official YouTube live stream. Fridays at 4, I think, are going to be the time, but I haven't put that into concrete. One thing I learned was I was hesitant to do my lives because I was afraid going live was like a marriage. Like if I picked one time, I could never pick another time. And then I realized, well, that's just silly. Of course I could pick another time, right? So today's live stream, it's going to be about a few things. But one of them, the main one, and it came up for me this morning, was about mental fog. And I'm going to get into that in a little while. But I woke up this morning in fog. And this happens to me more frequently than I would like. Part of it has to do just with my natural rhythms. Sometimes I wake up okay and I'm having good sleep patterns. In fact, I often get a lot of really good sleep. But lately, I've been a little shaken. Some of it has to do with following American politics. If you're Canadian, don't do that. It's not healthy. And some of it's been induced by some of the the climate of COVID here in Ontario, and especially today with the announcement that I thought would be made that we have just entered what they call a modified phase 2. I don't know what that means. But I did read it from our Ontario Premier, and it looks like we're back into this kind of voluntary isolation mode. Running the studio with a makeup artist is not going to be possible. We can't do application of makeup or do hair or do anything without a mask, and it just compresses things. I could probably still run a session in my studio, and I'll get to that in a second about some exciting news, but running a session with a mask on has been a little bit of a block for me. What do you guys think? As photographers, I see Gary, you're here, and Tisha and Brandon, or one or both of you are here. How would you feel about trying to take portraits with a mask on? Not of the client. The client's mask is going to be off, but my mask invariably would have to be on to be able to direct them and to be within that proximity. What are your thoughts on that? Put that in the comments if you're live or you see this. What's your comfort level? Do you think you could do a great job of portraits with a mask on? My own thoughts on that are, I think I would struggle. I really think I would struggle with that. So I'm not sure 100% about that one. And the other thing is opening up the studio. In Canada, my insurance company wrote me a letter when COVID started about a month or two in, just when my renewal came up, and said, yeah, we're going to cover you. We're going to cover your gear. We're going to cover liability, but we're going to exclude coverage from a communicable disease. So if anything were to happen to a client who came here and acquired or claimed to have acquired COVID at my studio, I'm not covered with liability insurance. And that became an issue for me. And so, oh, you're both here. That's great. I'll put that up there. Yeah, communicating. That's the thing. I'll just put that up. And so you're both here. That masks don't bother me. Masks don't bother me. I'm happy to wear them in public places. It doesn't. If it has a remote chance of keeping somebody else safe or keeping myself safe, why not? I'm open to that. But running the studio and trying to get connection, I think, would be more difficult. But I saw Gary Hughes, an incredible portrait photographer, especially with headshots, and he runs a successful business. He's been on Creative Live, and he was doing a session. He was showing a session where he was wearing a face mask, and he was showing the portrait result, and he was getting great connection, something I pride myself on and something I will always want to strive toward. He was getting great connection with his clients. And I thought, oh, well, he's made it possible. Maybe I put too much emphasis in physically or visibly talking to my clients, especially since my face is half hidden half the time anyway. So they're working off my eyes and my speech. So maybe I should open the studio. I don't know. This is the question. Open the studio, don't open the studio. So it's been closed since March. My last client was in March. And I've really, really wrestled with opening the studio either to rental, which has been a regular request, and I wasn't sure about that. Although it is separate from the main house, and I can open it up, have them come in, have them leave, and then do a major cleanup the next day. So I think renting the studio is a bit easier than actually having a session here. Yeah, Gary, I agree with that. It would be a pain, but doable. It's doable. I would be kidding myself if I didn't say my income wasn't deeply impacted by COVID. So March 11th, I started staying home, and by March 15th, we were shut down as a province anyway, and everyone was home. And then shortly after, my wife was forced to work from home, and my daughter was forced to work from home. So we each have spots in the house. My wife took my old office. My daughter's in her room, set up a nice office there. And I'm in the studio, which, because I'm not shooting, I can have this big rig set up. If you guys could see the other side. We actually just took a picture of it today, but I haven't been given the picture from Beth of this whole setup, which I'm really excited about. The ability to do these lives, and then what's going to lead to an announcement that I'm going to make a little later. Yeah, and I agree, Brandon. This is a really good point, and I'm going to put it up for public consumption. You got to go with what you're comfortable with. Tish didn't go back to work when school started back. Yeah. So Beth is at home attending Humber home classes. There's no in classes. The grandkids are in public school, but modified, especially for Daniel, my grandson, who's 14. So he's only going a few times a week, and then homeschool stuff. And my wife, who works in an office in another town, they may not go back to work till after January, or may not for a very long period of time. And so now I've been told for at least 28 more days we're kind of in lockdown again. That was today's announcement. And so, yeah, it's been a challenge for me. Yeah, ventilation is a good point, Gary. I have an exhaust fan, and I have a back window that opens, but I don't have massive ventilation in my studio. So indoors, I agree, though, ventilation does make me feel a lot more comfortable because we know that one of the things, we don't know a lot, right? One of the things we know is closed spaces with multiple people is a place where the virus spreads most. And other than that, everybody's got a study and nobody's got 100% confirmation. It lives on surfaces. Yes, we know that, but does it transfer off surfaces? I don't know. We're beginning to think maybe not as readily as in a closed room through the air. So I don't know. It's up in the air for me. I'm going to put this up. We should talk. One of the things I've spent a lot of time in is this setup, being able to use a DSLR to do a high definition live stream to YouTube, or to record with, to create tutorials with. I actually today have a 2-camera setup, so I'm just going to show you right now. I'm going to do a really quick cut over to my desktop that you see right here, and I'm going to do a bit of an unboxing later of a product that's going to help me do what I will announce after we talk about mental fog. So here I am back here. So I would love to chat, Brandon and Tisha, about the setup I have and the journey I had to get this far, and then to go even further with it. So right now I'm able to have a 2-camera setup using streaming software. I use vMix. That's for a PC. You can use Ecamm I would recommend for a Mac, or OBS is free and it works on both, but it's just a little less intuitive, but it's a good way to start. And then, I'd love to chat with you about that. Do reach out to me, either email me or Facebook message me or whatever. one of the things I've been able to pivot on is running my mentoring platform, but I also last month ran 2 live workshops for entrepreneurs on how to get better live streaming or Zoom calls or tutorials. So that was really fun. What I want to talk about a little bit is mental fog. So I'm just going to transition to that. And so I'm going to try not to look too much at the comments. But this morning I woke up and I felt it. Some people will get this. Some people know before a migraine hits. They know ahead of time these feelings. Some people know if they suffer from epilepsy, they get a feeling before an attack. Some people. So for me, as a relatively recovered bipolar sufferer, I still get the premonition of a nosedive, and they're not as severe as they once were. They're not, I wouldn't say clinically severe. I don't need today to be medicated, thank God, so far. It's been several years since I've needed medication. And I always put a caveat with that. I would never rule out that I may never need medication again. That may be a possibility in the future, but today I'm thankful to not have to be medicated. But if I found I hit a nosedive that lasted too long or went too deep, I wouldn't hesitate to go back to medication to stabilize. At one time it saved my life, and I believe there's a place for it in everyone's mental health journey if it becomes necessary. So I just want to caveat with that. I'm not a doctor. This isn't a prescription. But this morning, it started a couple of days ago. I couldn't sleep. I haven't been sleeping earlier well. My brain's been kind of on rush. Part of it is the U.S. election and looking at the coverage and not so much the platforms, but the responses to our neighbor in the South about party has almost become more than religion. Party has become everything. This whole idea that the party represents their whole worldview. And I'm not really on board with that. I'm on board with the fact that every government that we look toward, whether they're liberal or conservative or socialist or however they frame themselves, wouldn't it be wonderful if their primary goal was to serve the people of the country in the best way possible, using tactics that have been previously successful? For example, in Canada, we have a healthcare system that is not perfect, but I would argue that almost no Canadian would give that up at this point, whether they're under the NDP government, which is more towards socialism, or they're under a conservative government, which is more toward business and fiscal responsibility, for example. We've been run under all governments, from the more social style to the more conservative style, and all the time we've worked with a social safety net, considering welfare and unemployment, as well as a healthcare system that allows us to get higher level healthcare if we want to pay for that, but gives access to everyone. And I've never really had to wait too long for something that was critical. If I walked into the hospital and my head was gushing with blood, I would be immediately admitted without hesitation and get treatment, period. That's just the way it would happen. If I had something more minor, I may have to wait longer. And with COVID, there's been, sadly, what we call elective surgeries, which may not truly be elective, that have been put on hold, waiting to see if we would get that rush of cases. So that's been on my mind, as you can tell. It's been on my mind. So I woke up yesterday. I didn't sleep very well. The day before yesterday, I didn't sleep very well. I couldn't sleep, and I got up early, and the dog woke me up for some reason at 4 a.m, barking to go outside or get water. So I was a little off yesterday. I felt that niggling that something wasn't right. I couldn't shake it. I couldn't kind of overcome it. Maybe, if I'm honest, it's been a kind of a week-long thing. And then watching news and scrolling Facebook, big bad mistake. Don't scroll Facebook before you go to bed. Never do that. So this morning I woke up and there it was. There was that distinct feeling. Maybe it's chemical, maybe it's emotional, but I was out of focus. I was foggy. I call it mental spaghetti. I couldn't string a thought together. And I thought, oh, I hate this. And I don't know if you guys can relate. So I got up and I was grumpy and I moped around and I had my coffee. And, even when the coffee didn't sit right, and I did a little bit of social, I did a little bit of emails, and wasn't quite feeling it. And so my daughter was taking a break, and I told her I wasn't feeling it, and I've been having these entrepreneurial feelings, like I'm feeling less successful. I've lost a lot of income due to COVID, so that it's not unusual, but pivoting is taking longer, and I'm not sure the direction or how long this is going to last and how it impacts me. And so that was kind of wearing on me. So I was kind of complaining to her, and your 20-year-old daughter looks at you and gives you the advice you give everyone else. And, she says, you got to change your perspective. And she showed me a meme that went around a couple of years ago with this guy, just do it, just do it. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's kind of funny. He's against the green screen. So she's saying, you got to just do it. And so we talked about the fact that all my past experiences actually gives me a trove of skills and understanding that I could teach or share from. So it's just deciding how to do that. What are the modalities? Maybe Facebook, YouTube, pardon me, is one of them. And that's something I'm working toward, being able to teach through the YouTube platform and maybe Facebook. I've done a bit of it. In the past, we did Hangouts, and I taught, and we did broadcast shows, Google Plus, right? The Photoshop show and Life Through the Lens. And so I'm moving in that direction, but I'm having trouble committing. Yeah. Okay, I'm confused. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf. You'll have to explain yourself, Gary. I don't get that one. Anyway. Maybe I have to read it backwards. I don't know. So today I was that way when she said, why don't we go for a walk? So my daughter's really smart. She knows that physical exercise is really healthy for mental fog. Oh, so that the guy, I didn't know who the guy was. Yeah, just do it. Thanks, Gary. Hello, Sherry. Yeah, it's the video you're talking about. Yeah, thank you. Hello, Sherry. Welcome. So I'll get back on track. I'm gonna just ignore my comments for a second. Mental fog. I woke up this morning, and it's not a normal, I'm just a little fuzzy this morning. It's literally like I'm out of focus. Like my neurons are misfiring. I can't string thoughts together. I feel really irritable. I know there's something going on inside of me, and it's not, I don't drink anymore. That's been years since I've done that. My vice is coffee, but I only had one yesterday, and I'm on tea today. See there? My cup of tea. There you go. It should focus eventually. Well, maybe it won't. How about that? It doesn't want to focus on my cup of tea. So I got my tea. Excuse me while I drink in front of you. So my daughter and I went for a walk, and we talked about the options, and I got more clear about content. And one of the ideas I have, which is going to lead to this unboxing before we finish up today, is I want to be able to, and I've thought about this ever since I saw my first Creative Live, was to be able to do live stream workshops from my studio with multiple camera sources. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, I think it would be really cool, right? I hope you guys agree. And so that's my idea. And to be able to do multi-camera sources, and then to be able to share the tether, or actually directly share what's in my camera with all the settings and everything totally live for people to see. And I think that would be really exciting. And I'm almost to the point where I could actually do it in the field, but streaming would be hard unless I had a really powerful connection, especially with multiple cameras. But I can do it in the field and record it. So this is going to start in the studio, and everything in front of me. I have an iPad, and got my comments. I got my streaming software, and I'm adding a thing to it. What I'm going to add is switching software that allows me to have 3 camera sources and a feed, like my desktop or my Lightroom catalog, or my, you know what that is, what do they call it? Tethered. Tethered feed. I have mental spaghetti. Did I mention that? So we started, my daughter and I, talking about that. And it started making me feel better. So I got clear about that. Then I shared with her some needs I have around graphics and branding because I don't do it. She does it, but she said my workload at school, because she's in school for graphics, is I don't have time to do my branding. So I got to reach out, get some help otherwise with that. But it's all falling into place. And that mental fog, while it's still here now, lifted. So I talked it out with her. I went on a walk. We walked the dog. I got prepared for my live stream, and I just started thinking about the different things that I could build in or I could make a list for. And lists overwhelm me, but she was right this morning. She said, Dad, you got to get it out of your head and onto paper. And then you got to break it down and block it out. 20-year-old telling me this. What do I help people with? This is the very thing I tell people. And here I am getting it mirrored back to me by my daughter. What a great moment. That was a fantastic moment. Anyway, so I'm going to switch now. I'm going to do a bit of unboxing. But before I do, I did a little upgrade. So I had this last week. Subscribe. Tick the reminder. Tick the reminder if you want a reminder. But I found this online. I'm going to have to put credit for it, though. With this fancy little thing, I may have to make one of my own. But look at this little button coming through here. Oh, now it's not even going to fire for me. Oh, there it is. Isn't that cool? Don't forget to subscribe. That's kind of fun. So I'm going to switch over to the unboxing. I'm going to switch to my desktop view. We're going to clear this up a little bit. And we're going to look at what I have. And then I think I'm going to do a boxing and unday. I got a bunch right behind me to unbox. And so I might do a few little lives and stream them out also to Facebook, just to unbox, just to get these things out so I can start to work on the technology. But I wanted to start live streaming with minimum viable product to get a good result. So I got this down. I'm getting used to it. But now, here's the thing. Now I'm going to, I just want to see my stream health, make sure we're good. Oh yeah, we're still really good. That's awesome. I'm going to show you this product that I'm going to be able to use to help me live stream. So let me do a switcheroo of the cut. There we go. So there's my desktop, and I'll just move some things out of the way here. Put my glasses on because I need to be able to see. It's always good to have your glasses on, isn't it? There we go. And I'm just going to move my keyboard out of the way for a minute. Now, I don't even know and I'm just going to move my microphone up over to the side. I'm sure you can still hear me. Okay, but here's the box. Let's do a quick unboxing. You know what I need? One of the next things I'm going to add to my live streams, music. And I finally figured out how I can do it. So that will be next week. We're going to introduce some music. So there we go. I hope this is the right box. And if this is the wrong box, we get a bonus. Oh, there it is. ATEM Mini Pro by Blackmagic. And who here knows what this is? You can put that right into the comments. Get this box out of the way. There it goes. ATEM Mini Pro. Oh, hold on a second. My comments are way down there and I'm not seeing. There. So this is going to allow me to have multiple cameras connected to my streaming software so that my computer doesn't have to handle the workload. So this device handles all the processing, the encoding for my live stream. It can also live stream directly, or it can go through my live stream software. There we go. Blackmagic Design. They've welcomed me. Thank you. And all the regular deals and the plug conversions there. But this is it. So this funky little unit here, and this is it here. You can see it's got all the ports in there for the cameras and the feed and the output. So the only thing this doesn't do, this will stream directly out to YouTube or Facebook or wherever you want to stream, Twitch. It also has an out for recording recording the feed, and each one of these buttons is a camera switcher, much like I can switch now from one camera view to another. And this little unit here switches my camera views, but it handles the encoding so it doesn't bog my computer down, and it frees it up to be able to live stream freely. And so that's where we're at there. We got a new ATEM Mini. And of course, I glued onto my desktop, do what you can't help but do. And for me, that is to capture beauty and character in the places I travel to and the people I meet, and to help others do the same. So that's a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro. Now it comes in a mini, a much more affordable version, but the mini version doesn't have onboard recording or onboard streaming. You have to plug it into your streaming software. But this is all built in with my switching and my mic sources and all that little mini television studio. So small, you could handhold it. It's incredible. Which leads me to my announcement, and we're getting close to the end of things here. So let me come back. Oh, that was my announcement. Workshops from the studio. I already said it. See, I have mental spaghetti. So let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in workshops. Number one, if you're interested in workshops like a live portrait workshop showing how I get my light set up, or I walk my client through posing, see it in Lightroom, see it right in the camera, actually see what happens, because I happen to have a captive model in my home, my 20-year-old, who has agreed to be able to model for me if it's a paid role. And I said, yes, of course, my dear, it could be a paid role. It is hard to get. You can't get, Gary, I was just going to pull that up, but my little thing is here. Yes, it is hard to get. Anything for live streaming right now is really hard to get. Capture devices, microphones, USB microphones. Like if you wanted to buy an Audio-Technica or a Blue Yeti, you may be on back order. I was just going to get a new Audio-Technica microphone that's called an XLR, which takes care of audio delays. Rita, glad you could join me. Oh, wow. That's great. Did you get yourself out to Nikon today? I hope so. Anyway, so live workshops. There's lots I can do. It doesn't just have to be portraiture, but clearly this is a portrait studio. But I could do live instruction with different camera views of my setup to help other people live stream. I mean, that's another possibility. And so I just wanted to put that out to the world, that this is what I'm planning. I'm going to put it out to the world and build it as we go. So just like, let me pull this over. Just like I did with live streaming, is to try and start with the minimum amount of my comfortable knowledge. That's what I want to do. I think next week I'm going to introduce a naming contest, and not for my channel. I think I might have different aspects, like Ron's rant, for example. Might be once a month I'm going to do a rant on something. I can rant. Trust me, anybody who knows me well knows I can rant about things. I won't even bring up, let's talk about Sony, and they're half the weight and half the size of a Nikon. Don't even get me started. But if you were watching, here I'm going to do a cut. If you were watching this, off in the corner is this little bear. It's my stuffy. I have a confession to make, and I'm making this on a public live. I actually have stuffies, and most of them came from my grandkids. When I go on a trip, they get me a new stuffy, a seal, a penguin, a polar bear. And so I'm going to have a naming competition that I'm going to launch officially on next week's show. But you guys get the pre. Start thinking of names for my polar bear. He doesn't have a name right now. He's going to sit on the corner of my desk, and he's always watching. Sandy Archer, I am so glad you could join me. I caught you for a little while yesterday, but I had to run out. Yeah, I really appreciate your live yesterday, catching it. So I'm kind of getting to the wind down. Mental fog is a reality for me, and it comes back in waves, and sometimes it lasts hours, and sometimes it lasts days. And it's not just like being a little off. It's literally like I feel it coming, like a person feels a migraine. And it sticks to me, it weighs heavy on me, and I can elevate it a bit, but I can't always just elevate past it. It's not something you just get over. For me, it takes some time and coping skills, grounding exercises, regular diet, proper sleep, and exercise. And so if Beth ever watches one of my lives, thank you for getting me out of the house and out of my head, taking a walk and listen to me complain and rant as I rant. And so I really appreciate the perspective today of a 20-year-old that told me, just do it, Dad, just do it. Just do it. Hello, Mr. Stapleton, all the way from across the pond. Welcome. You're just getting me at the end. But do catch the replay. I covered a lot of stuff and some exciting news about doing future live workshops using multiple cameras, especially with portraiture. But if you have a request, if you have say, hey, Ron, you know what I would love for you to teach on live? If it makes sense to do it live, tell me. If it doesn't make sense to do it live, I can do recordings. I plan to do some regular stuff like I do for my online community, Mentorship Plus, where I do regular 2-Minute Tuesdays and I do cohort cafes and I do group critiques. All of that happens within Mentorship Plus. That's my online platform. If you are interested in photography mentoring and you're not already involved, hop on over to ronclifford.com/mentoring. You see, and this is where I need that little graphic where I push the button and the graphic pops up. But alas, I don't. Let me do one more of those fancy little subscriber thingies. Oh, and let me cut my view. There we go, I'm back. See? Oh, they're so cute, aren't they? The little subscriber thinger. Yeah. You probably already have subscribed anyway, but I appreciate it. And if you have any questions of me just before I log off, go ahead and ask them now. And I don't think I saw any more. Yeah. I was just looking at the comments just to see what was piling in. But that's today's Friday live stream. Hopefully Fridays are a good day for you guys, the couple of you that are left. High-speed sync. Oh, that would be a good one. I don't know if it could be a 2-Minute Tuesday, though, because running high-speed sync is more. Maybe cover that in an actual tutorial. High-speed sync is a wonderful thing. Yeah, you'll need help with your Canon later, mentoring. Oh, are you going to be using a Canon for live stream too, Sandy? Let me know. They're good cameras for, depending on the model, they're really good for live streaming. Friday should be hour long. I think so, Gary. Where am I at now? Am I only at half hour? Go on, get out of town. It felt like an hour. I don't have to go anywhere necessarily. I just don't want to ramble too much. Rebel TI, I think I've heard that they'll live stream with clean HDMI out. Sandy? We can look into that. Totally. How old is the model? Rebel TI version, the newer versions certainly do it. They have good video. But we can chat about that. We can just message me and we can chat. And if it does clean HDMI out, we'll get you set up for sure. And if you want to learn more about photography, that's a great camera to start with. Really good quality results. The M3 won't. M3 by, is that Canon, Mike? The M5 does. And yeah, the Z5 does. Anyway, that's all about live streaming. I could also live stream how I'm able to use a DSLR through capture devices, not just the ATEM, but I use a little capture device that allows me to use a DSLR as my webcam and give a really nice signal. Sadly, people always approach this the wrong way. So let me talk about that for just a second. I wasn't going to go here, but everybody asked me, what camera do I need to get the same picture you're getting? And the question is really that's at the wrong end. That's wagging the tail or whatever it is, or trying to feed an elephant through its tail. What you have to look at first is your upload speed. So if you have an upload speed that doesn't meet or exceed 10 kilobits a second, 10 megabits a second upload speed, mental spaghetti is really affecting me, then you can still stream at a lower rate, but you won't get really high quality. So if you want to do what I'm doing today, because I've been having some internet issues getting a steady 10 megabits, is I'm streaming at 720p at 30 frames a second, and it gives a pretty decent result. In fact, when I'm in network meetings or any meetings with Zoom, everybody asks me how I get such good quality video, and I'm only sending out a 720p stream at 30 frames a second. And 7 megabits a second is going to work for that quite well, as long as you have it fairly stable. I can do 1080p at 30 frames a second when my stream is rock solid. Unfortunately, I live in a part of town where I don't get true high internet. So while I get 100 megabytes down, I only get a maximum of 10 megabits up. And so that's called 110 instead of 100, which people just around the corner from me can have. Yeah, thanks, Tisha and Brandon. I get a lot of comments on that 720 looks pretty good. I know it can look better at 1080, and it could probably flow better at 60 frames a second, but I just can't push that right now. The ATEM maxes out at 1080 30 frames. That's all you get out of it, but it does it pretty stably. So, the 5, yeah, Sandy, it does. The 5, the Rebel i5 will live stream for sure. And did you get a capture card or a capture device, or what's your plan for? I know Canon makes a software that lets you use the USB out from your camera as a webcam, but the quality is probably closer to a 320 feed, not even a 720 feed. I know the quality is still better than a webcam, but it's not as good as even using a phone as a webcam. So that's the other thing you can do. You know that other view I have? I'm just going to cut. So that's my cell phone. That's a Pixel 3 plugged in through a program called Droid Cam. And the paid version allows me to do 1080 feed. And so that's a really good quality feed. You'll see when, let me get my finger right under there. It'll zoom in, and you can even see where I poked myself with a pencil when I was in grade school. That's that dark mark. And you can see where I nicked myself with a knife doing another unboxing. But that's my cell phone, and it could actually be used, totally be used as a webcam. And so with these apps that are out, like Droid Cam or Iran Cam or Epoch Cam for Mac, you can use your cell phone as a webcam, and it's way better than a C920. So if you can't get a C920, you could use your webcam as a really quality webcam for streaming. So just thought I'd mention that. Yeah, do send me a message, Sandy. I'd be happy to help you out with that. I help a lot of people out with that stuff. All the stuff. We'll get you set up. Anyway, one question I can ask before I log off today, because, I'm new to this. I really don't understand the live streaming world. Apparently all the cool kids are doing it now. A lot of my friends are doing it. Sandy's doing it. I know Sandy's doing a live stream now. I have a show flow, so I do know that what I want to talk about and 3 talking points. And so I did talk about those, the fog, just do it, and unpack the ATEM and talk about that workshop. So that was my show flow today. I'm trying to be concise. And as I have more little features and functions that I could add in, more lower thirds or graphics or other things, we'll get there. But I think I'm just going to need to make a list of topics I can cover and have at least 3 segments in a show and just share from my heart. Share what I know, share my knowledge about photography, life, and business. Yeah. Right now, COVID has contributed to the mental fog and the fact that as of today, I don't think I can safely open my studio again. And so I'll live stream. And then I'll run a workshop online. I'll do that. Yeah, you got to go with the flow. I do like a show flow, though, in segments, like break it up into 3 segments. And certain topics that can be really chatty, and it also depends who can join and who chips in. So I really appreciate you guys for joining me today. I always appreciate when you join my lives or join me when I'm popping into Facebook or doing anything like that. It's different than a hangout, isn't it? Because I'm looking at your comments rather than actually being in the room together. But it's going to allow me to move forward at a different regular pace and reach a different audience. Obviously, some of the same audience as well. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. If you have a topic idea or question, leave it in my comments and I'll consider it moving forward. I plan to be doing this for a while now. I'm starting to get the rhythm. And every week, I'm going to add a thing. Like today, I added my overhead camera. The next thing I want to add is my shadow camera. So when Shadow comes in the room, and he always goes to sleep over there on his bed on the couch. So I'm going to add a shadow cam. I think that'll be a really good idea. So thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your thoughts. Add pants. You know, they're optional in Hangouts, Gary. This is what I've heard, but I haven't tested it yet. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you guys again through the week. I'll probably do an unboxing short shows once a day until next Friday's stream. And we'll try and plan for 40 minutes to an hour next week. Talk to you in the stream. See you guys later.